Draw talk this week. Well, now we've started. AMD Ryzen 7000 CPUs. This was pretty cool. This is something coming down the pipeline for you all. Let me just open this up here. So I think this is still going on. Computech 2022, but some of the keynotes have happened already if they're not all done. But Computech 2022 is, where is it? It's in,
I think Taipei, Taiwan.
Taipei. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So AMD has announced their Ryzen 7000 CPUs that will get, is it 5.5 gigahertz?
It seems to be so it seems the base clock would be like 5 gigahertz, I think, maybe, and able to turbo boost up to 5.5 gigahertz. So it seems that they were playing the game Ghostwire Tokyo at 5.5 gigahertz boost, which is quite high CPU clocks for AMD chipsets. Intel has already been kind of pushing that, but for AMD, that's kind of a bigger deal because they've always been kind of the sub 5 gigahertz. Like you have a 5800X, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And I think yours turbos up to like 4.7 or something out of the box, something like that. So this is quite a bit of jump just out of the raw megahertz GPU, not GPU, gigahertz. It's quite a jump for boost.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's got the Zen 4 architecture, if I'm not mistaken, and it's going to require a new socket as well. So a new motherboard will be coming out with this. So let's see what we've got here. So the Zen 4 is supposed to be 15% faster in single thread performance than the Zen 3. And the wattage. Let me say the wattage and then. So wattage of these is supposed to be up to 170 watts as opposed to 142 previously.
So it's quite a bit of a power draw jump too. So it will generate a bit more heat under full load.
So you were going to say the Zen 4 chip? Were you going to say something there?
Yeah. So when it says that it's 15% faster, what I wanted to I don't think that's them comparing. I'm hoping that's IPC, them saying like clock per clock. Say that you had them both clocked to 4 gigahertz, a Zen 3 and Zen 4. Does that mean it's 15% faster clock per clock or 15% faster overall because of the boost in the gigahertz or whatever, the megahertz? Yeah,
that's a good question.
My impression is that it's clock per clock, 15% faster. That would be cool because if that was true, it would be 15% faster clock for clock, and then the additional overhead could be like 10% faster because of the clocks. So it could have been like 20-ish plus % faster, which would be a nice boost.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. There was a couple other things I noticed on there. In this article, it talks about every CPU will have some sort of graphics integration in it.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool because my 5800X does not have graphics in it.
No.
But that being said, so I just actually sold my 1070 out of my old computer, and I'm gonna buy another graphics card for that. But it's still, that's still running. I don't need a GPU in that computer. That's an older i7. I can't remember which one that is.
So it has like an Intel something 1000 HD or something.
Yeah, so I can still use the computer. I just can't really game on it or anything. So
no, which is nice. That's actually like just a nice thing to have. So with your other main rig, you can't do that. If you sell your GPU, you have to get another one.
Yeah,
which
although
you knew.
I knew that when buying it, and they did release the versions that do have the GPU or the graphics integrated in it. But so that was something I noticed, which was kind of nice. So they're saying all of that series should have the graphics card in it. PCIe 5.0 NVMe storage slots with the new motherboards. And what was it? There was something they were talking about, the 1 second game load times potentially that you might be able to get with the read
direct
speeds
storage.
for the competing with the Microsoft Direct Storage promises. So I don't know.
So I guess if you match that with the PCI 5 speed bandwidth of the controller with the direct storage, I guess that's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so much faster for loading. That could be a huge, like, big change in just loading times, because we've gone from like PS4 loading times were pretty bad. Like first off, like not bad, I should say, but that was definitely a generation behind. I think you got a bit blurry there, sir, on your end.
Oh, you know what? My thing is, there we go. My square's on my face now. Somehow it was focusing on the background.
Yeah.
So, the other thing is, so the motherboards. So it looks like there's going to be X670, Extreme X670, and B650, and I saw this here. What was the chip or the pin, the socket? I missed it. Anyway, there is a new socket, so
yeah,
they're going to be using.
The nice thing, though, apparently, I don't know if it was from this mentioned or another Yahoo Finance article. Can't remember if it was this one or that one. Mentioned how it will be using the same, even though it's a new socket, they've designed it to support the previous motherboard's coolers, heat sinks.
Yes.
So if you have an older system, you can bring that over. You don't have to buy a new heatsink.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
No, that's definitely nice for sure. Yeah. I can't remember. It might be in the other article we have. I can take a look here. So we've got this other article from Yahoo as well. And yes, here it is. The AM5 motherboard, 1718 pin LGA socket, and it still will support the AM4 cooler. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I know Yoshi brought up this point. He can't wait for the Ryzen, but he's hoping for the prices. So that's one thing I did want to mention. We haven't seen any pricing on these yet. So I'm not sure when that'll be happening. The release date, did they say the fall, Steven, sometime? They didn't give an exact release date, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I don't know.
I thought I saw the fall. Launch. Yes, this fall. So there was no release date specifically on those.
What I'm curious about here with this is you mentioned how they are planning to have most, if not all, the chips to have some kind of video GPU kind of support built in. So I'm curious to see what kind of performance gains AMD gets with DDR5 being the RAM for motherboards, because with the integrated GPU APUs they don't have their own dedicated memory. They have to use the system memory.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm curious to see what kind of like difference it makes. And I feel like AMD may do a good job with that, of tying it, like how much, because that's where there can be a bottleneck with integrated graphics cards. If your system memory is slow, it can choke. The bandwidth can choke your GPU. It can choke your performance if you have slow memory. Where usually like dedicated GPUs have like really super fast dedicated memory on the system to just make things run really quick. So I'm just curious to see how DDR5 performs and how much uplift that actually helps.
Yeah, no, for sure. And as DDR5, this is really the first steps of DDR5 becoming more prevalent in an everyday computer system. So so it'll be definitely interesting to see as this comes down the road. Now, before we move on, did you have any other thoughts on this at all, or?
There's talk of the number of 24 channels. It seems like a jump up, and I'm just curious to know, like, and maybe we'll bring that up near the end of the video, part of the question of the day. But I know you with a 5800X, what do you consider of this? Like, is it something enough to upgrade to? Like, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, because it's not enough to upgrade to at this point for me, just because I built a PC this year.
Yeah.
And I do want to do another PC build, but I think I'm going to do an Intel build next time, because I did not because I really like one over the other. It's just I would like to do an Intel build.
Yeah.
And I think for myself, I'm in a little bit of because I work in tech, it's something that like most people don't have the opportunity to maybe work with as much tech as I do. So it's hard for the average user. It's kind of a little bit different that way, I would say. But it does intrigue me. It would definitely intrigue me maybe next year, when it's been out for a little bit and the prices aren't at the very, very top. Once you start to see some different, I don't know how you want to say it, different variations of models of motherboards and things coming out that are a little bit more cost effective, maybe then I would jump into it.
I'm wondering too if it will play more of a factor for you. If you're looking into an Intel, it could cause Intel to be more competitive on their side, so it might influence it more that direction when you're looking for Intel parts.
Yeah.
How will it bring down pricing or stuff like that?
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not looking to build another computer probably until the fall, so we'll see. Hopefully that happens.